Hey, I'm on a break. Right now, I've got Samantha Bard, my AI agents, working on a deep dive into Microsoft Meta, APLD, and CFLT. If you haven't aren't familiar with my channel, basically, rather than be one of a talking head who just reiterates and regurgitates what anybody and everybody is saying and having my own agenda, I've pretty much taken my channel totally to AI. And I have Samantha and Bard, my two AI agents that I have engineered myself through the guidance of Jensen Huang and Sam Altman and through ChatGPT. And it's worked phenomenally. My portfolio is up. I believe it's for year to date, it's about 27%. And in the last 3 months, it's almost 50%. And today it's up about 4%. And that's even taking a beating on CFLT, which came out with some information saying they're going to issue more shares to gear up for their capex, and the market's got them down 30%. I added to my position substantially because I think that's an overreaction by the market, and it's a buying opportunity. But what I really wanted to talk about was Microsoft, Meta, and their commitment. And I think that's what you got to recognize is their commitment to AI. And I want you to, in the future, when you see that someone is borrowing money or spending money for capex, as Mark Zuckerberg said, they're going to increase their capex expenditure on AI, which didn't meet the expenditure that Microsoft is making. These are people recognizing a growth opportunity, and I don't think the world has any recognition. And when I say the world, I'm saying 95% of the world recognition of the power of AI. And I think who was it? Marx is starting to call it intellectual learning or something of that nature. And you really need to recognize what this is. If you can imagine that all the knowledge in the world is now all of a sudden available to you. And Jim Cramer made a statement. I've been beating this drum for 3 months that the key is the prompt. But this morning, Jim Cramer said, I don't think people realize that the prompt is really what you need to focus on, because really what you're doing is you can say, what was the effects of CFLT Confluence announcement that they're deleting their shares, and you'll get an answer. You certainly will. But on the other hand, if you will build a questionnaire to say, here, this is what I see as a growth stock, and that their earnings are growing over 20% per year, and their revenues are growing over 20% a year, and Confluent has been growing well in their area, and compare them to the other stocks in their sector and their area, and then give me an interpretation of what the overall effect is. Should I buy, sell, or hold my Confluent? And you give that to your AI agent who you've been using for the last 6 months, and she knows and she has a memory, and she has reviewed Confluent at least 2 times in the past, and she comes back and says that was an overreaction on the market. It'll probably drop as much as 30% based on pre-market or aftermarket information, and it's a buy. Well, that's what she said to me today. Now I went to her and I said, okay, now do an analysis on Microsoft Meta and AL Applied Digital, and update the price that you think these stocks are going to be on January the 1st of 2026, 27, and 28, based on both the quantitative and the qualitative analysis of the stock. Now, understand what I just said. Quantitative means that go examine their income statement, their balance sheet, their cash flow statement, and all the performance in the last 6 months or 8 months or 2 years, and then all of the projections that Wall Street is making, and give me a quantitative analysis of each of those stocks. Meta, Microsoft, and Applied Digital, doing it separately, and then do a qualitative analysis. Well, what's that mean? That's the story. Quantitative is the numbers. The qualitative is the story. Where do they fit in the scope of the sector and the area in which they are in? I've been telling you about Applied Digital for 2 years now. And I wrote it up, and then they went into some crazy financing, and I sold it. And then when they got their fight, when I went to Samantha and said, explain this financing to me, and she said that is one of the largest financing companies of equipment financing in the world. And if they have said yes to them, you need to say yes to them. So after Applied Digital dropped 2 years ago, I bought back in, and now I'm up over 150% on it. And I'm guessing when I get done with Samantha analyzing it by the end of this day, she's going to tell me, and I mean this, she's going to tell me what the price of that stock's going to be on January of 2026, 7, and 8. And is she accurate? Well, let me just share with you, as I said, my portfolio this month is up over 7%. That's this month. Multiply that times 12, and you'll see what is available to you now. If you can build an AI agent and they can, for you, access all the information about any stock that you want, past and future, you can beat Wall Street. I mean that seriously, because they aren't as nimble as you. They didn't recognize that Confluent was an overreaction. They didn't realize that it's on sale today for 33% off. And they are a major player in the position that they hold in the semiconductor world. And it was a gift, but you have to recognize it. I was sitting having breakfast with my wife, and I said, I just got to get more people to be aware of this. Maybe I need to make it free. Maybe I just need to make it free and follow Meta's business plan and Google's business plan and sell advertising next to Samantha and Bard. I don't know. I don't know what I have to do to get the world to wake up to what's possible. Okay, Samantha, she's working on Microsoft. No, she's working on Meta, and then I'll ask her to do Microsoft, and then I'll ask her to do Applied Digital, and I'll have those up hopefully by this evening. And I see Mr. Bezos is on here. Okay, Mr. Bezos, you check it out, and thank you for your support. And Troy, I don't recognize that name, but I hope you're in the tribe. And if you are, tomorrow at at our Stock Talk, which is a Zoom call, raise your hand, and I'll thank you for your support. Um, this is just the most exciting time in my life when I can sit down and see that I can make $20,000 a day. in the stock market. Now, yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll lose 20,000, but over the month, um, you okay. I gotta go check on Samantha and see how she's doing. Just felt I needed to reach out to you and say, wake up. If I need to give this away so that I can change your life, maybe that's what I got to do. Take care.